Welcome back, my friends, and my little chat is about a certain program. I don't know if you can see my t-shirt. Yes, it's MASH, and I'm starting my talk about, MASH was made originally before the series. It was a film, and the only person who appeared in MASH, the series, was the character Radar O'Reilly, played by the same person. Now, MASH was about the Korean War, is it? Yes, the Korean War. And they made 251 episodes over 11 seasons. And this is the start of my little chat about MASH. This is our first disc. And this is season 1. And MASH the pilot. This is starts off with Hawkeye writing a letter home to his father, discussing that the 4077 want to send a Korean houseboy to the States to be educated. So this was the start of Hawkeye and Trapper's adventures, because how they did it, they had a raffle and that, and all the money went towards getting an education to send the boy over. Now our next episode, because the episodes was only 30 minutes long, and it was shown over here on BBC Two on the Friday night when the first few seasons. Our next one is Market to Market. Hawkeye and Trapper determined to the black market to obtain some much needed medical supplies. I think this is the one where they go to this person who deals with black market, and they end up selling, putting up the door of Henry Blake's new desk, and at the end you see it flying off with on the end of a helicopter, and that was to help them get medical supplies because they was kept going missing. So for our next one, the request for the lightweight. Trapper steps into the boxing ring to keep a fellow nurse from being transferred out of the 4077 MASH. And what happens, because they have a run-in with Hot Lips and Major Burns, and they had a boxing match to try and stop them getting this nurse transferred out. So our next one is Chief Surgeon Who. Now, to Frank's dismay, Hawkeye is promoted to Chief Surgeon, which prompts Frank to call General Blake to the 4077, because Frank Burns was a right plunker. So Hawkeye was made the head surgeon and that. So this is the fourth one to our series. And for our next one is The Moose. Now, Trapper helps a young Korean girl gain her freedom from her GI master, because they called the women who was like their servants mooses, and Hawkeye wanted to buy her. He brought her out and he wanted her to be free, but she wouldn't. So in the end they sort of did it, and helped out to make her free and that. Now for our next one is Yankee Doodle Doctor. General Clayton sends a film crew to the 4077, but excuse me, but Hawkeye and Trapper appears by their pranks, taking matters into their own hands. So what they do, this cameraman, he was trying to film a serious thing about the 4077 MASH unit, Medical Army Surgical Hospital. So in the end, Trapper and Hawkeye commandeers the film crew, and they make a comedy, but at the end they show a serious part in that. So that was Yankee Doodle Doctor. For our next one, Bananas, Crackers and Nuts. While Henry is away, Hawkeye fights a physical prank to gain much needed R&R. So I don't know what happens, because I think there's some trouble, and I can't remember what this story is, but I think it's one of the funny ones. Now for our next one is Cowboy. Henry's life is put in danger by a disgruntled helicopter pilot who will do anything to receive a discharge. Oh, Cowboy was the helicopter pilot. So what they did, he kidnapped Henry Blake, and he sort of took him as a prisoner to make him discharged. So in the end, they actually save Henry and that. And for our next one is Henry, Please Come Home. Henry receives a transfer, and Frank is in charge until Hawkeye and Trapper decide to a plot to get their leader back. So Henry gets a transfer, and because Frank Burns and Major Hulam are in charge, and they're making everybody's life hell, and Trapper and Hawkeye make out a way of getting Frank back home in charge. So that was our next one. Now, our next episode, I Hate the Mystery. A rare and rapid of thefts occur at the 4077, and Hawkeye is the chief's subject when a loot show up in his footlocker. So Trapper, this is the one cover, this one. This is the second disc of the first series, and there you see Hawkeye, and they have to find out the person who's doing it. So for our next one is Dear Dad. Now this is where Hawkeye decides to, in a letter to his dad, Hawkeye decides that 407 follows during a Christmas season. So he's trying to get things for Christmas and that. So our next one is called Evelyn. A nurse refused to see the doctor after hours until Nurse Evelyn finds the suitable. So I don't know what this story is. I'm not sure about that, but we'll have to skip that. Love story. Radar splits his need. It splits need lift when his girlfriend dumps him So Hawkeye helps him win the affections of the new nurse. So Radar is a bit down, so they try to help him to get the affections of this new nurse. Now for our next one is Tuttle. Hawkeye creates a fictional captain in order to give a local auction money and make medical supplies. So this is what they're doing. They're getting money funded sent to to the orphans, and in the end, they say it sued Captain Tuttle, and it's like a fictional thing, and they sort of kill him off. So for the last one in this batch is Ring Banger. Hawkeye and Trap stop a colonel from creating unnecessary battlefield chaos by having him a stateside. So I'm not sure about that one. So that's our second one to the first season. That's next. This is the last group of the first season. Now, sometimes you hear the bullet. A strait of bullets and childhood friends of Hawkeye, and Hawkeye stops the possible of another serious death by sending an underrated GI home. I'm not sure about that one, that story. Our next one, Dear Dad Again. Hawkeye writes to his father about Frank and Hot Lips, continuing affair, and the new doctor who turns out to be an imposter. So this doctor is really not a doctor, he's something else, and he's pretending to be a doctor. And there were Hot Lips and Frank Burns, or they've been an item for our. Now for our next one, the Long John Flag. During a cold snap, Hawkeye's pair of Long Johns become a popular item as it gets traded for necessary supplies around the camp. So Hawkeye's Long Johns kept, because he got sent a pair of Long Johns, and in the end they get traded round and that. Now for our next one is the Army-Navy game. During the popular Army and Navy football game, an unexpected bomb lands in the compound, and they have to deal with it and complications and that. So they have to solve this bomb what they've got landed in the middle of the 4077 place. So our next one, Sticky Wicket. After instant Frank's surgery skills, Hawkeye has a patient who turns critical. So Frank was a bit of a bungler. So this was another one of his disasters and that. For our next one is Major Frank C. Dulo. Frank wants a transfer, but Hawkeye and Trapper trick him into staying when they plan plots of gold near the compound. Oh, what they do, they pretend they found Radar's found gold in this place, and they paint all these rocks, and Frank decides thinks that he's hit a gold mine and all this, but really it was one of those tricks because he wanted to be transferred. So for our next one, Chase of Fire. The 4077 celebrate and prepare to go home as the aroma is causing fire spreading. So I'm not sure about that story. But our last one of this season is the showtime. A troop comes to entertain them the 4077 as Henry is waiting for news of the baby, and Trapper emerges safe from critical wounded patient. So that is Radar, and this is the end of season 1. So next we go on to season 2. And this is the front of season 2 and the back. I didn't show you this one, the back of season 1, and that's the back. So where are we? I'll get the right one. For start of season 2, divided we stand. Threats with a possible resign the 4077 personnel try to impact their physical and only to return to their usual behaviour shortly after his arrival. So this was a sort of someone trying. And for our next one, it's 5 o'clock Charlie. Now, this is the Everest bomber of a misguided North Korean pilot becomes the subject of gambling and sightseeing until Frank spots a fun. So what happens that this pilot tries to blow up the bomb, the ammunition dump, what's close to the camp. But Frank gets his gun sent to them, because every time at 5 o'clock Charlie tries to blow it up. So how they did it was they put an arrow pointing to it, but in mistake they get Frank to aim the gun at the ammunition drum, and he blows it up with one of the missiles. So for our next one is Radar's report. Love triangles, duty and cross-dressing rounds out the actual in the type week of the 4077. So this is where Radar does the local reports of what's going on. So, and our next one is for the good of the fitness. So Hawkeye and Trapper are outraged by the shelling of the North Korean village and an attempt to cover up by the US. So the local villages are being bombed by the US and they try and stop it. For our next one, Dr. Peace and Mr. Hive. An angry, heart-sick and excited after nearly a 3-day week shift, Hawkeye becomes even more so happy than usual. So he goes a bit loopy. Next one is Kim. Mark. Oh no, I mean a tiny Korean boy wins the affections of Trapper, a Korean who hopes to adopt him. Oh, this is the baby child what Trapper wants to adopt and send back to America, but in the end, his legal guardians come and find them and that. Now for our next one is L.I.P. Local immigrant people. An unlisted man wants to marry the mother of his child, who happens to be a Korean. This looks like a possible problem until Hawkeye steps in to help. So what it is, the couple want to get married, but they can't because the Korean woman. Next one, Trial of Henry Blake. Hot Licks and Frank face off against Hawkeye when they try to get Henry outed as a commander of the 4077. So that's Henry Blake, and they're trying to get him kicked out. So for our next one is Dear Dad 3. Hawkeye updates his dad on the dismay of the tragedy and hype of the humour taking place at the 4077 hospital unit. So this is another letter to his dad. Now, the next one is The Sniper. A 477 is besieged by a precise young sniper bent on bringing down the enemy single-handed. So this sniper is taking pot shots at the 4077. So that was that one. Next one, Carry On Hawkeye. When a nasty flu epidemic, the 407, Hawkeye is the only doctor fit to operate. So what happens? Hawkeye's the last one but in the end he gets it and everybody recovers from it. So this next one, the Inspector or something, Hawkeye and Trapper crush a press conference held by the army, based on an unaffected, but to get the inspector from their unit to respect their unit. So our next one, Do Me Out. A diesel troubled inspector in the form of a medical emergency. This week's officer poker game of 4077 thieves. So this is where they get these people coming up for a poker game, and Frank Burns is causing trouble as usual. Now for the next one, Hot Lips and the Empty Arms. Feeling the pranks of ages and childless, Hot Lips impasse regarding a trade. So Hot Lips I think she wants to get out. So for our next one, Officers Only. So Hawkeye and Trapper arrive for an every day of a 4077 to enjoy the pleasure of an officers' club, whether they wherever they are officers or not. So they have an officers' club belt, and the way they did it, the commander who put this officer club wanted his son coming to the officer club, and he said you can't bring it in. So in the end, they sort of change it. So for a love, next one is the love of Henry in love. While on leave in Tokyo, Henry becomes infatuated with a sweet young American who only has eyes for him and even everyone else of the 4077. So what happens? Oh, that is Frank Burns on the front. So what happens? This young girl is in love with Henry, and she thinks that he's the love of her life. So for our next one, for what of a boot? Hawkeye starts a chain reaction of internal pride as he wheels and deals for a new pair of boots. Oh, this is the one where he tries to do deals to get some pair of boots, and it all goes pear-shaped because it tails in with everybody, and Frank Burns' his birthday, and it all goes, and to get Klinger out, and it all goes pear-shaped. So our next one, Operation Noise Lift. Although the constant surgery is not high on the Army's list of providing, Hawkeye and Trapper organise for a noise job for their enlisted men. I'm not sure about that one. So for our next one, Choice of the People. This is Gilbert. Oh, a Korean guy claims Radar is the father of her baby. To everyone's surprise, including Radar. So Radar thinks this child is baby's his child, but in the end it turns out not to be. So for our next one, As You Were. Just when the 407 becomes crazy with a lust of concern, business as usual picks up again. So that's where it gets mad. The crisis, persons of the 407 required a trap of fashion when supplied lines are cut and shorts of ages are imminent. So they're having problems with supplies and that. Our next one is George. Hawkeye and Trapper decide it's time to blackmail Frank when he tends to observe and immediate discharge for a homosexual soldier. And Frank wouldn't sign the paperwork, but they sort of bribe him. So, for our next one, Mail Call. When Frank's stocks plots arrive in the mail, Hawkeye becomes an interested investor available who gives very bad advice. So this is one of Frank's mad ideas, and try and get people to invest in these stocks and shares. And for our last one of the season 2, a smart overly intelligence. Two suspected government spies show up at the 4077 to investigate Frank is so Hawkeye helps them both out of with a complaint. So that's Henry again, and this is the end of season 2, and this is where I will end my little 2 episodes of season 1 and 2, and stay tuned for more, and I'll bid you farewell. And this is the first of the MASH seasons, so if you enjoy this little track for the start of my MASH stories, be prepared for some more, and I'll say goodbye for now, and take care of yourselves.